Garry Niemeyer, President of the National Corn Growers Association, joins us here at Commodity Classic. And Gary, another outstanding event, understand record attendance.
6,003 as of this specific moment in time.
Wow. Give me a couple of takeaways for you from this event so far.
You know, I think there's a bunch of farmers that's come to this event because they wanted to see the new technologies offered, and they are very much aware that the innovation of technology has led us from a culture of, you know, maybe something scarcity to more of one of abundance. And if we're going to compete in this world with all the volatility we have, we're going to have all the technology we can.
And talk about the mood of the membership as you have walked around the trade show floor or the halls of Opryland. What are you hearing from the rank and file?
Everybody's pretty positive, but they sure would love to see a farm bill passed this year, and that's really what we're here for. Now, obviously, you're seeing technology on the floor, on the trade floor, for the farmers to get a grasp of and how they can make their farming operation better. But we also, as NCGA, are here trying to pass policies that keep us profitable and continue to farm in the future.
And we're going to get to that in just a second, but first I want to ask you about a policy goal that NCGA had enunciated a few years ago, and it was 15, 15, 15. It looks like 2012 could be the year when that comes about.
You know, Sturt, as we were coming down here, couldn't help but notice there were some guys out working in the field already in February. And it's a little dry, and you never know what the weather holds for you. But the technology, you know, we had a corn yield contest here, and every year since it's been inception, and it's in 47 years in going, and we had 8,400 people join in this year. But that technology of all of our growers that are in these yield contests throughout the years has been 64 bushel, an average of 64 bushel above the trend line yield. Now we have our tech providers telling us that we're going to go from where we are to about 164 bushel an acre, all the way up to about 260 bushel an acre by 2030. We want to have markets that can utilize that corn by the time we get there.
That's okay. Let's talk about policy. And as you pointed out, a lot of discussion about Farm Bill. Give us the latest on where NCGA's policy is regarding the Farm Bill.
Well, first I'm going to talk about NCGA's policy, and then I want to talk about a joint policy letter we came out with. Number one, as I'm here representing 300,000 corn farmers, they want to see crop insurance their highest priority item, and we always have. That's nothing new. Second, we want to have a policy that kind of fills the gaps that are left by crop insurance, and those are multiple year losses of either price and or yield. Now, that other people have a different reference to it, but that's exactly what it is. You know, we're in such volatile times. Here we are sitting with virtually $6 corn, but for the last 20 years, most of those interviews would have been talking about $2 corn. Sure. Now, we don't, as farmers, we invest a lot of money in what we're doing, and we have a tremendous amount of risk. And to mitigate that risk, we need to have policies that keep us in the game, not to make us money. And this policy is only when we have a problem do we receive a payment, not like direct payments, which currently are based on just a direct payment every year.
Other issues that NCGA is very attuned to right now, defense of the renewable fuel standard. There's legislation introduced on the Hill to modify it, even to the degree of eliminating it. And so where is NCGA putting its legislative energy on this?
The renewable fuel standard is exactly what got us to where we are, and we're not unaware of that. It seems like there's a new movement in Congress to do anything to cut any kind of cost or subsidy. The subsidy that was associated with ethanol, VTEC, is gone. The import tariff that was associated with ethanol is gone. We will be standing firm on supporting the RFS.
5 years or so ago, NCGA was one of the groups out there that really pushed hard for the passage of the Water Resources Development Act. You got the legislation through. Funding has been, it's been a bear to try to get funding to improve the lock and dam system in the United States. you know, realistically, in the budget cutting environment we're in Washington right now, how do you see this funding issue for WRDA playing out?
Well, Stuart, thanks for asking. And by the way, I've been involved in that one specific topic for over 17 years now. And I was there when we passed the WRDA Bill 2007, which was authorization, not appropriations. So how do we get from where we are with the authorization to the appropriations when there's no money and we're having a difficult time passing a transportation bill? I think there is so much frustration that there was talk about, even in our own organization, of looking at privatization of the lock and dam system. You know, that's really a sad shame to think that this country has gotten to where we are because of infrastructure. And I mean to tell you, I've been in China and Brazil, and if they had any kind of infrastructure, we wouldn't be having the kind of crop prices we're having. There's no two ways about it. That's the reason that we are a strong country, provide feed, fuel, and fiber to the world. And if we're going to continue to do that, we need to put money back into a system that works. I think Secretary Vilsack this time last year was talking about, you know, we have $137 billion worth of agriculture exports around the world this year, of which $42 billion is above and beyond the balance of trade. As a farmer, we take profits and we use them and reinvest them back to what got us to where we are. And that's what we need to do with this lock and dam system.
And finally, U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance, NCGA is part of that, and several other efforts out there to bridge whatever communication gap there might be between the farm and non-farm public. If you had a magic wand, what would you do to try to bring those two groups in our society closer together?
Well, the livestock and the crop production groups have really come to see a lot of light here together. You know, we worked with the livestock people on passing 3 free trade agreements, and this last year alone, pork exports increased 22% from this country. You know, we're working a lot too, and I have to tell you, going around the world and traveling, I'm kind of somewhat surprised to see that every country I've been into, and I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you where I've been this last year: China, Vietnam, India, Argentina, Brazil, and Panama. Every one of those countries, maybe not Panama so much because it's a smaller country, but the livestock numbers are increasing dramatically. But now here in the United States, the price of corn is the same worldwide. I think that we have the opportunity to work with all our people. And the other thing is, we have to understand who our problem is. It's not the high price of corn, it may be excessive regulations. And we have to all work together on those things, and that's exactly what USFRA is trying to do: defend ourselves against excessive misinformation.
Garry Niemeyer is president of the National Corn Growers Association. Garry, thank you so much for stopping by. For Agri-Pulse, I'm Stuart Doan reporting.